Right, so we're recording, bit of pre-pod.
Oh, my favourite bit.
Are you feeling the pressure now, Chris, to be funny?
Yeah, I don't like it when he telegraphs it's pre-pod, because then, it's not real.
Oh, it's real. The pre-pod is real. Right. See that? That's the...
Oh, it's good. A wee bit of rustling about.
No,
To change
but
the
see-
slurping tea.
See the thing about microphones, Chris. They pick everything up. So at the moment, what it's doing is hitting your zip.
Well, I don't sit at home with my own strap-on microphone like you guys do.
So what do you sit at home with? That bottle.
Shitty wires with cables that don't work and suboptimal audio. That's what I sit at home with. Are we talking about serious stuff?
Yes.
Or are you two?
Look, we're just
lightening.
We're lightening the mood. We're just lightening the mood before we get into this stuff.
Oh, I've got a joke. Oh no, hang on. Got a joke. I thought of a joke. Have you heard about this new COVID-19 thing? It's gone viral. I made that up.
Welcome to the Good Roundup. Today on the Good Roundup, we have Julie, Chris, and myself, Stuart. We're going to just talk about stuff. We're in week 63 of the lockdown. At least that's our...
No, first of all, what week of the podcast are we on? 4?
Well,
5?
weirdly, this is the 5th one, and it's the 4th week of it. It feels as if we've done 400 of them, and we started 2 years ago. And again, originally this was going to be a podcast about brand, and now it's just a podcast about how therapy for the coronavirus. So that's, our little therapy sessions. That's what it's turning into. So question is always the same at the kickoff. How are we all doing?
We're doing well. Doing all right. Well, yeah, all right. I mean, yes, I think fine. All right.
That's all you need to know, Stuart, from that. You can tell she's not really sure.
Have my moments. Sleep is not good at the moment. Annoyingly, very disrupted sleep. If that's not, which is mildly irritating, but not really. I was saying this to Chris yesterday. I'm not going to bed actively anxious or worrying about things. It's just seeming to wake up a lot thinking about things, which I'm sure is the case for a lot of people at the moment. But generally fine. The team are still positive, and that makes it easier.
Chris, how's the darkness?
Yes. Up and down. Up and down. More down, probably, than up. Julia's helped talk me off the window ledge. Fortunately, I'm on the first floor.
You're not going to hurt yourself.
Ground floor. But, yeah, a lot of kind of waking up at night and thinking about stuff and then not being able to go back to sleep. But, hey, we're all in it together, aren't we? How about you?
Well, I'm the same. Fine. Somebody is fucking about with this. Somebody is annoying me and I don't know who it is. And I think about my son throwing stones at windows. That's fucking my life at the moment. With him thinking he's hilarious.
I think you and Darren, I've noticed, are struggling with the old kids on the old kid front.
I mean, generally my boy's all right. He's good. I think the challenge is I'm not working from home. I'm at home working. That's fine, but I'm the same as you guys. I'm kind of, the last couple of nights I've been waking up and just things in my head. Nothing. And of course, nothing that you can solve. You've just got to kind of get through it. So I've been playing some Animal Crossing, and that doesn't help. And then I just try and go back to bed, and then I don't, and then I wake up and I'm grumpy with everybody, and I lock myself in a room for 8 hours a day shouting at people, and then they start throwing stones at the fucking window.
Have you fallen out with everyone in your family?
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say that's probably a fair summation of the thing. I think it's kind of, yeah, I think so. I'm okay with it.
I know. I'm kind of the same. I think Shirley, my wife's been more tolerant than usual. She's trying hard not to shout at me. Occasionally bubbles to the surface.
So we're bubbling away, so to speak. There, as far as business is concerned, is there any big change from last week?
Changes every hour.
Still a mixed bag, isn't it? There's
We were talking to Keith today, weren't we, about it, and it's just crazy the amount. It's unlike anything It's unlike anything anyone's ever been through. So it's no wonder no one knows how to react to it. You just don't know. Do you know what I'm sick of, though?
What are you sick of, Chris?
If I want to get into it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of all the yoga babble around it. I'm sick of all the talk and stuff around it being a sort of strategic hurdle and all this stuff. It's not. It's completely new. It's about fucking survival, and that's the game. So all of that stuff on LinkedIn, and there's just an overload of fluff around what you've got to do to survive, and it's different to other recessions. It's not even an economic thing, and I'm sick of that, tired of it.
I was listening to somebody today who said, and I thought it was absolutely correct, nobody's modelled for this.
Correct. So stop throwing 2008 at us, it's bollocks.
Yeah. We look at what, a client a year, losing a big client a year? Is that the kind of...
Yeah, not even that. Yeah, not even that, really. But yeah, there's a natural churn, not necessarily a big client. But yeah, there's probably one that's replaced with another for whatever reason once a year.
Yeah, and the thing that's interesting, and I've been churning in my head, is that all of this kind of stuff, an event like this kind of strips all of that conceit away and all that babble and all the bullshit, and it boils businesses down to really two things, maybe three. How much have you got coming in? How much have you got going out? And how much have you got set aside? And it is literally no more complicated than that. When we first set up the business, the first bank manager we met that we were in awe of, and we're not in awe of bank managers anymore, which shows how far we've come. But he said, it's not very difficult. As long as there's more coming in than there is going out, then you're doing something right. And I think, that is it. It is just boiled down to what have you got, and it's now it's down to how quickly you can adapt to these new circumstances and what you've got to survive, because it is about survival. And that's what Jules and Steph, never spent so much time with three of them, staring at each other and pondering, looking at spreadsheets. And Steph, bless her, has done an amazing job pulling spreadsheets together, looking at how we parse this out. And
the other thing at the moment is that we don't actually, like you say, we're planning all these scenarios and looking at the financials of all of it, but we still don't actually know what we're planning for. So it's not like losing a big client or losing two clients or losing whatever, because it's not that we've lost clients. We know that 4 or 5 of our big clients are kind of pulling back a bit and are going to go quiet, but we're also confident that will come back at some point, but when, we don't know. And so you kind of look at you map all these scenarios out, and now we talked about, that's what we were talking about with Keith this morning, saying that those are just kind of sitting in the background now to say, right, well, when we reach this point, this is what we need to plan for, and when we reach that point, you kind of, like Chris says, you need to, it's just then being adapting and making decisions quickly and trying to make the right decisions for the business and for the team. And because
it's not an economic issue. The standard thing about recessions being 2 quarters of negative growth and all that staggered economic slowdown, where you have a perspective of what's happening and you're able to make some decisions. And the advice, receive wisdom then is act quickly and all that kind of stuff. And it's, even that stuff we were talking about before about lagging indicators. I've actually changed my mind on that. This isn't about lagging indication. This is immediate. It's the taps have just been turned off. There's no lagging about it. We might lag at the back end as well, but
that's the bit. I think that's the point I was going to make, though. When we talked about the lagging indicator effect the first time in that David Baker webinar, he was talking about our industry being both a lagging indicator at the start in terms of impact, but also recovery. And I think there is no lagging. We're not a lagging indicator at the moment. We're feeling the impact pretty much overnight. We've seen it in the space of a week. The revenue is literally getting chopped in half. But you can then work to trade through that. But I think the rate at what it's going to come back at the other end will be slower. So you can feel the effect quicker and it will take longer to come back, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's made the scenario planning perversely more complicated is the government support stuff as well. It's not as binary as it would be. So, and that creates so much nuance in decision making and how and when you take advantage of that. So it makes the planning difficult. There are so many, many options. I mean, Steph was looking at 10 or 14 scenarios, which we could probably slice and dice again. And within them, I think, Jules, I think there's like 2 or 3 in each one of them.
There's three or four actually, 3 or 4 options within each scenario in terms of looking at different levels and furloughing and numbers of people and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
trying to do it the right way. Yeah,
but I think that's where those equations, that like those very simple equations of looking at what you've got coming in and reconciling that against what you've got going out is where you work it back to being as simple as possible. Yeah.
the very essence of business.
But then, that's, I suppose, in you, who we were talking about it earlier, we have been talking about it. There is the added, don't necessarily want to call it a complication, but there is this thing around the moral responsibility that businesses have as well, which there's a bit of discussion around in terms of you can't, it's not just our business. It's not you're not dealing with just your own business in trouble, and you look at reducing headcount or whatever, or reducing overhead and taking people out, because where do they go? There are no other jobs at the moment, which is obviously the whole point of the government support and the retention scheme. But it raises bigger questions of, I suppose, leaders of the business to say what's the right thing for the business and the team, and what's the right thing to do. And
yeah, because that's back to the recession, the received wisdom around downsizing if your business is struggling is, cut overhead, cut people, cut quick. And fine, but we're not living in those circumstances now. This is a different scenario where there are not other pockets of the economy that are doing well where people can pick up work. There's no work. So you're obligated, rightly, I think, to hold the line as much as you can. And, we were talking about the thing about Mark Ritson saying, and it's true about, all these businesses that have lived on credit and lived up to the wire and stripped money out of the business. Now's when you get caught. This is when you get caught. Because if you have no money in the business and nothing set aside for a rainy day, you're fucked.
Because this is the rainy day.
And this is the rainy day, and it's pouring. Those that get caught, and that's what a brutal capitalist view of the world is, that these businesses perish. Shocking, but true. But as you said, Stuart, the other day, the scary thing and the disorientating thing is we don't know whether we're in the beginning, middle, or end. Where are we in this? How long is it going to last?
My entire career has been built on projects. I've kind of realised that. When you did a theatre project, you started a theatre project, you ended a theatre project, and you know exactly where you are in that process. When you do a digital project, the same, a market, anything, you know the beginning, middle, of end, because there's a finite thing. The trouble with this is that the only thing, and this is terrible, and I'm not proud of myself for saying that, I'm looking at the death numbers as a guide of how we're doing. Because it's the only metric that's kind of going, is it getting higher, is it lower? I mean, it's that kind of thing where you're kind of looking at it and going, what's it going to be today? I hope it's not going to be as high as yesterday. And I know that's not, of course that's not right. And that's not, and you look, because you want it to be zero, obviously, I'm not an animal, but the thing is, it's this only thing that I can measure how we're doing is like, is it going up? Because if it's going up, we're still in it. If it's going down, we're getting better. And I get encouraged to see things going down.
I read, was it on Monday? I can't even remember. Who knows what day it is anymore. I think it was on Monday, and there'd been a couple of days of consistent hospital admissions, but they weren't increasing, and the number of deaths had, I think, dropped slightly or stayed constant for 2 days in a row. And those are the things that you find yourself clutching onto to go, just maybe, and then, before you know it, you're like 300 and something, 500 and something. You're like, no, that was just a fleeting glimmer of hope that you kind of clutch onto desperately.
I mean, I know earlier on this week we talked you guys have been in it more than Darren and I have, but I mean, just talking about the scenarios, and it's kind of, we've got to map everything out from where we are to where we could be, and the truth will be somewhere in the middle, because that's normally where it is, but it is kind of scary. The team seem to be understanding. The people I've talked to, I don't know, is ever impressed and humbled by their stoicism in this.
I think, and I was saying to Keith earlier, like I was speaking to one of the girls this morning, and she was saying, this is, it's shit, and a little bit anxious about that, but try not to get too worried about this. And they've been having conversations around their own financials and all that kind of stuff. We obviously had a call with the team yesterday where we had to say, look, we're now starting to look at furloughing people, and the plan we'd had originally can't do, and blah blah blah. So, it wasn't a particularly uplifting call with the team, because it's not bad news, but it's certainly not great news either. And anyway, but the point being that MJ was saying, I trust you guys. I trust that you guys running the business to do right by us and do right by the team and right by the business. And that's all you can really ask for. And it's little comments like that do make all the difference, because on top of everything else that's going on business-wise and health-wise in the world, it's at least reassuring to know that the people you're trying to retain and make sure there's a business for at the other side of this do appreciate the decisions that you're having to make. And everyone does. I think it does feel like everyone's kind of in it together. and sure they're all feeling it in different ways, but they seem to be still talking, and I it's hard to know because can't live in people's heads, but
I know it's hard. I found the call yesterday hard, unexpectedly. So I think, but afterwards, a few people sent me notes, which was really nice to say. I know that was hard, and like along the lines of what you said, Jules. So, that you can only. I mean, and that's really special of them to do that, and it shows the type of people we've got. And you do feel a keen sense of responsibility for making sure that we make the best decisions to get through it. And it was Keith that said all you can do is focus on making the next right decision, and I think that's so good and appropriate at the moment that there are so many questions and decisions to be made, but you can only focus on the ones that are right in front of you and try and make the right ones at that time. So yeah, I think everyone's hanging in there. It's not great to address the team, is it, and say, look guys, I'm sorry, I don't know.
We've also got a team that are used, and this is one thing we were talking about with Dave this morning, Daz and I. He was saying he's, doing all right, but is quieter. We've got a team that are used to being, as most agencies I'm sure do. You've got a team that are used to being busy and lots of projects and pipeline and lots of different balls in the air that you're juggling at any one time. And actually, from a mindset point of view, to kind of even just be comfortable with the fact that you don't have a million and one things to get through in a day, that there is a little bit of positive in that if you can find, and it's quite a shift to get yourself there to say, right, well, actually I need to get X, Y, and Z done today, and then I'm around if anyone needs me on my mobile, and I'm going to go and whatever, read a book or go for a walk or something. That's a bit of it's quite a shift. That's not going to happen overnight either, but we're trying to encourage people to take the time where they've got it.
So, Chris, you were going to have a mild discussion about how you think the banks are performing at the moment.
They're just fucking useless, aren't they? Just they're just big sponges, and they suck up all the money, and then they treat it as if it's theirs, and they don't give it to anyone. I mean,
they give it to their shareholders in the form of big.
I know that the Chancellor's going to give another update because they had to give the banks a bollocking yesterday. But I actually hold the government responsible for this because the banks are going through the process as if it's normal times. So they're telling people, well, it might take 9 to 12 weeks. And then they're charging interest, and then they're looking for collateral, and they're looking for, it's just, it's an embarrassment. They should be ashamed of themselves after they were bailed out last time, after they took all of our money last time.
That was what the article was saying. I can't remember what article. Was it the BBC? Whatever it was yesterday. That basically, when the government had basically sent a sternly worded letter to say, please don't pay your shareholders these ridiculously large dividends. Keep your money in your pocket because we're going to need it for extra lending.
It is astonishingly bad the way they behave. And my tip,
Chris's top tips:
don't rely on your bank for anything. They will give you nothing. They're only interested in you if they can earn money off you. And I know some people will say, well, that's fine, isn't it? Well, it's not. They've got a bigger responsibility than that.
Okay.
On
that note.
Julie?
And don't get me started on Premiership football clubs either.
Oh, Spurs have basically, what have they furloughed, or they've cut all their backroom staff salaries, but the players are left on.
In what world, in how many parallel worlds do you need to have till that's acceptable? That's enough to put me off watching Premiership football.
But that's what I do think, to be fair to the players, we were talking about this earlier, I mean, I think they're all ridiculously overpaid, clearly, and I'm sure some of them will step in off their own back and whatever, give money to whoever they choose to give it to. But it's not. It's the clubs, it's the owners that need to take responsibility for that. The players are essentially employees. It shouldn't fall on them. It should be the owners that are taking responsibility for how their entire staff, including players and all support staff, are treated. It's not. I think it's an easy.
Yeah, but when you're an individual whose personal revenues are 100 times or 200 times, you have, no matter, I mean, these guys are, you need to step forward. And some of them have, some of the more intelligent, sensible ones have. Lionel Messi in Barcelona. But I I'm astonished by that. I think the Premiership needs to be careful because they'll tarnish their own brand. Do you think fans are going to stand for that? Pay season tickets to go and watch these
people
guys?
forget. Yeah,
They will.
People
Yeah,
always
yeah,
have
they will.
memories and they love football.
They're,
so
they're,
of
they're
course they
quite
will.
they're quite happy to go and watch a they're quite happy to go and watch a paedophile play. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't necessarily, they're all right about that. At least he's our paedophile. You know what I mean? When they're doing that, so they're kind of going, well, at least they're our selfish, greedy bastards. And as long as they score,
Well, it might just be me saving myself 25 quid a month from Sky TV.
you're not going to do
No,
it.
you won't.
You're going to
Because you like watching football. So when we come out the other side of it, you'll forget and then you'll just go, I really want to watch some football today though. That's just human nature, isn't it? Some people are wankers and some people aren't. So at times like this, you see the
and it's
people that are
now
wankers and the folk
you
that
find
are
out.
actually wankers but present themselves as not wankers. You find out, should probably stop saying wankers now.
Stuart can bleep out the.
if you think I'm going to spend my time bleeping out Julie swears, you're off your nut. Because I love Julie swears.
I've stopped. I don't swear as much on these podcasts. I'm trying to make myself sound less Scottish, but I don't think it's worked.
Is there anything positive? Is there any happiness?
There's a few pockets of optimism and positivity, even around client conversations and new business activity. There's still various things that we've got kind of coming in, so it's not all doom and gloom on the business front. I think the attitude and the general way that the team are responding, I think, is big positive, because we know we've got a great team and they're proving that just now by just getting their heads down and get on with it. We're not hearing lots of moaning, complaining and unfair requests or unreasonable requests. Generally, everyone's just dealing with it and getting on with it. So I think that's got to be a positive. And I think, the last couple of weeks, I was talking to somebody about this earlier, the last couple of weeks, like time-wise, has been quite, well, it's not really unusual, but I've not been, I don't think any of us have been any quieter, actually. It's been, you just sit upstairs at a desk in an attic for hours at a time on calls, looking at spreadsheets, catching up with clients, trying to figure stuff, same as usual, really. So I haven't really felt any benefit of having a bit more of a flexible schedule. I've not had any more time to myself than I would normally in a working day or working week. But I do think that over the coming weeks that is going to change. So again, taking the what positives you can from it, I do plan to try and be a bit more flexible with my own schedule and whether that's go for a run at lunchtime or wrap up early or start a bit later. Yeah, read more books and watch more films and all that kind of stuff. You're only going to get this time to do it.
We as a group can spend a bit of time stepping back from the business, the day-to-day stuff, and think about what we want, any changes we want to make about the offering or how we offer it or any of those. I think we can have a good, long, hard look at it while it's up on the ramp, to use an analogy. So I think maybe in the coming weeks we'll do that. We'll arrange a virtual brainstorm. So that's a positive. We'll come out the back of it stronger and better and more polished. I think we should actually actively start planning the return party, okay? So my vote is...
avant-garde.
Avant-garde, because, every pound's a prisoner, right? But you can get...
They went at Christmas time, and it was really very good.
Listen, you get £4 for a tenner. We went to Christmas time and it was really very good. There's plenty of room. You can get a band, or maybe Ian can come and play with his band.
We'll get them to do a favour. Do it as a freebie.
Or maybe get some Findus crispy pancakes. I think the return party we should start planning. And also, I think we should have a sweepstake on the day the pubs reopen. And if I could work out how to do that on Teams, I don't know how you put £1 and 50p in. I don't know, we're on Straighten Times, isn't it?
We'll pick a date.
Whatever it is. Pick a date.
Could do a doodle poll. You could set it up as a doodle poll.
The pubs reopen. That's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Coming your way. A bit of the funsies, as Julie would say.
Chris, founding partner and entertainment officer for good. Fair play to you, Chief. Fair play to you.
Are we doing drinks tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Is it appropriate that we do drinks?
Yeah, it is, because
it's Emma's question whether we do.
No, we should. We need to.
Emma, I'm going to phone Emma.
It's Emma's last day, so so we need to have some banners for Emma.
The other thing to bear in mind, Chris, in all seriousness, we've not let anybody go. We've not fired anybody.
No.
It's we're not, and it is appropriate because it is about keeping the team. If anything, we're trying. I'm not saying we celebrate furloughness, but I think it's about we're not firing anybody. not making anybody redundant, to be technically correct. We're not doing that, and I think we're doing our best to the team, and we've got to celebrate. And Fee, who was, she's not going to not be there, and I think it's even more important to make sure there isn't that us and them. They're still part of the team, and we just want to celebrate them. And it's shit, but we're all in it together. So I think it is appropriate, as
Yes.
we're
Well said, Stuart. I agree.
well, sometimes in these dark times we get the hero we deserve, not the hero we need.
That's good, Stuart. That's good.
Oh God, this just gets worse. This is not the shit that Blair Enns and David Baker talk about. See you guys.
I want to know if my joke is going to make it. Is my joke going to make it? Bye.